when it comes to getting good leads for your business, it's critical that you have the right type of lead magnet. And the right type of lead magnet is not as simple as it sounds, but in the end, it needs to look really simple for your end users. So in this article, we're going to go through some of the different types of lead magnets, which one work best when you're selling digital products, online training, or coaching services, the pros and the cons of them, different mistakes that people make, so that ultimately you can have really people in your lead system, whether that's email marketing or it's your Facebook groups or your ads or your bot messenger or any other way that you get people's contact information, people that are going to be really interested, and also getting the maximum number of people. Well, what are the different things that you need to evaluate for your lead magnets? One of the main aspect, well, actually, there's a few different aspects. So things to look for is the benefits of it. Will that help the person reach their goal? Now, it doesn't need to bring them to the finish line, but it at least needs to help them take one step forward. So the way to do it is you think about the end product that you're going to be selling. And then after that, you say, well, what is one tiny milestone I can help them achieve? And the best way to do this is to break out a little part of your offering. So I have a client that sells a Sacred Alignment certification program. Well, in there, she has different types of activations, meditations, teachings, and techniques. So using just one of those as her lead magnet in exchange for people's contact information is a great idea. Let's say that she does a meditation where people experience her modality that she's teaching. And they notice that this is helping them in their life, whether it's with confidence, whether it's with releasing emotions that are perceived as negative or something like that. Then they will say, wow, this is great. This really helped me move forward. Maybe there's a way that I could learn more about these sacred soul alignments to better improve my life and improve the life of the people that I work with, which is what people learn what to do in the certification program. So then later on, when she presents the certification program, people are like, whoa, what's going on here? Why is she even talking about this? So that's the first thing, is like, is it actually going to help the person move forward towards their goal? Is it going to help either remove an obstacle to reaching their goal, or will it help them get there more easily? If not, then your lead magnet is pretty much useless. Even if people download it, you're not going to give a positive impression. And you're not going to convey your authority and your expertise. Which brings us to the second thing. Does your lead magnet showcase your expertise and your authority? So in selling online, it really all comes down to authority and expertise. You have to be someone that people trust and a person that they know will be able to bring them again to their goal. Well, how do you do that? In your lead magnet, you can present a short bio as part of that to showcase it. You can show social proof, saying how many people have downloaded this resource or requested access to it. In the example of the certification, you can mention how many people that you've certified. You can help solve a problem that is really complex in a simple way. You can also show that you understand the challenges that they're facing. I know in the example of the Sacred Soul Alignment certification, one of the challenges that people face is saying, well, how do I combine this with the other modalities that I have? So let's say someone is a mindfulness teacher. They're thinking, well, how would this look like if I learned Sacred Soul Alignments? How would this make my services better? If you're able to talk about how to integrate different modalities, whether it's related to yours or not, then that will make them understand that you have a lot of experience teaching and helping other practitioners. Now, you could also have an article that is very thorough, that is available for download in exchange for the contact information in PDF form. So because it's very thorough, then that showcases your expertise. You could also have testimonials or other people that recommend your offer. The other thing you need to consider is how fast can people complete the lead magnet. Now, the more a person has invested, the more time and dedication they're going to spend towards that solution. So I'll give you an example. Someone that signs up for a free yoga class is much more likely not to show up because that yoga class was free. Now, if someone paid for a yoga pass and then they have access to a certain number of classes or unlimited during a month and it's group classes, they're more likely to show up than the person that had the free class. But then if you have someone that's paying for private one-on-one yoga with a teacher that's much more expensive, they're much more likely than the person that has the group pass to show up at the given appointment. The problem with a lead magnet is they're pretty much only giving you their contact information. So they're not that invested in what you have to offer. So they're more likely not to complete it. And if they don't complete your lead magnet, it's kind of like if they ordered something at the restaurant and they left their plate full, they're not as likely to order a second dish because they haven't even eaten the first one. You really want to make sure that they are going to use what you give them. Otherwise, they're going to be at a stalemate inside of your traffic and lead system. So to do that, you have to think, how can I make this quick, short, and easy? So let's go through the different types of lead magnets. A checklist. A checklist is very effective because it's easy. You just tick a few boxes and then it helps them achieve a specific result. That would be delivered in a PDF form, and that's fantastic. Another one is a template where you fill in the blank or you give them examples. That's why we have our sales funnel templates back, which is great. People love it. People download it when they reach our site organically. Google ranks it. Our Facebook ads work well for it because we have examples, and then you can fill in the blank. It saves the person tons of time, and it takes less than 10 minutes. That's also why we have our traffic and lead system template. It's very easy to complete. Swipe files, meaning examples of copies, headlines, or things that people can literally like copy and paste into their business. That works great. Or I mean, if it's individuals, then I mean, you have to find a context. I'm not sure how an individual person may want to get a swipe file, but that would be great for business to business. Ebooks. Ebooks typically don't work. They used to work well, but they're not that great because it takes a lot of time to go through it. Let's say it's a 30-page ebook that a person has to read. I'd rather just get a summary of that and not have to spend all time if I didn't spend any money. Now, if the ebook is sold, that's a different story, but it's free. People are not likely to consume it. Then there's video series, mini trainings, master classes, and webinars. That will depend on your market. So for some of our clients, we find that the mini trainings or master classes work really wonderful, meaning 3 or 4 videos on a specific topic, 10, 15 minutes, but some of them we do an hour and a half each. And because there's so much value in attending that, it is actually working great. Now, we do need to add calendar reminders, messenger reminders, email reminders, confirmation on the thank you page. We need to put a lot of elements in place so people don't forget to go in and attend that mini training series or get those videos. And these tend to work better if there's a specific date and time that they can consume the content. If it's infinite, whenever they could go to it, then you're probably going to see less participation because they'll save it for later and then they'll forget. The webinar is also good, but you have to test it out. For a lot of markets, it's better to present webinars to your warm traffic, meaning people that have perhaps downloaded your template or that have been engaging in your Facebook group, or they've been on your email list, and then you invite them for a more in-depth solution. We have seen it work, and we've done ads that go straight to webinars, but the challenge here is that the show-up rate tends to decrease, and people may not watch the entire presentation because they're much longer. Now, a half-hour webinar, maybe you'll get better attendance, although there's some studies that were done, and I saw this, I think it was on Zoom, but we would have to verify, where they were talking about 90 minutes webinar being more persuasive. So don't necessarily think that your webinar has to be really short. I would just tailor it more towards your warmer audience. Consultations, strategy calls, those are a really hard sell. You have to have already authority and reputation and expertise with your market, because most people today know that this is going to be a sales conversation, and the value of it is really abstract. So if you're going to use this, I wouldn't create ads for that. It may be inside of blogs, inviting people to do it. And it would likely be people that have been engaging with your content multiple times, and then they would want to take you up on that offer. You could decide to have a low dollar amount to get access to that, or you could also have an application form. So I use those types of sessions, although people always have to sign up for an application, like use an application form to make sure that they're qualified. And this also tells them that I'm not going to accept everyone. And then there's a very specific purpose to that. Don't make it just a strategy call. We've done it where I identify one of the biggest profit leaks in a business, and then I look at some of their revenue and expenses in terms of operations, online marketing, delivering their training programs, and then I make recommendations, like one thing they can change to bring in more profit in their business. It's very specific. I've also done it where I'll provide some tips on the types of like lead system that you can implement in their business. But again, it always has to be very specific if you're going to use those. And I personally don't like that as the first step. That could be later on after you've already engaged with your audience. Then we take a look at we already mentioned a little bit briefly downloadable articles. Those work great. I mean, it's just a little bit extra leads that you're going to be getting. If you have a 4,000, 10,000 word article or a whole series, you can make that nicely into a PDF and then tell people that you can download it, save it for later, or read it more conveniently on a Kindle or another device. You're going to get some leads, but I would definitely follow up with them and then provide other pieces of value. So you may want to send them an email where then they're going to get a video or other content or a checklist that will help them go through that faster, because you're still going to deal with the problem of having them consume the content. What are some of the top mistakes that people make when they are creating lead magnets? It's not very specific. It's very broad. It doesn't actually help a person solve a problem. So they're holding too much back because they're afraid it's going to make their product not desirable, or it's completely out of sync with what they're offering. So let's say that you download a mindfulness meditation, that's the lead magnet. And then after that, you're providing them a program on how to develop a yoga business. Sort of related, but not really, right? So that's disconnected. Instead, you could have a checklist or like the 10 steps for starting your yoga business, and then you could just go through that checklist. That would be a better lead magnet. So it has to be congruent with what's going to be offered. The other thing is people often don't make it clear where to get the lead magnet. I like using buttons, and then people can click, and then there's a form for that, but you want to have contrasting colors on those buttons. You may decide to present them inline with a nice image so that they appear. I really like also using one where it comes out in the little corner, and it's a little bit discreet, but it's very visible because there's some movement when it unveils itself, or the infamous exit intent when people are about to leave your website. So those are different things to consider.